Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hani 5D, thank you so much for renewing your Prime sub. I really appreciate it. First of many, I hope. Me too. Welcome to the welcome back to the Red Host, and I hope you are having a good time. Oh, my message box was under siege. Yeah. Vayer7, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, it was. Oh my God, guys. So I was thinking about throwing together a funny intro for the video I put out this morning about the Siege rework, but I decided I was too lazy and just kind of made a joke about it. But I literally mean that, like, I think I woke up yesterday at 7 p.m. because I was up all night because I was so nervous about making sure that, like, everything released on time and it didn't release early or late. Wait, Horrible Kids, I was doing Hong Kong style, which is just sweetbread and 3 layers with peanut butter in between. It's just egg wash and deep fried. Wow, that is wild sounding. Holy crap. That is substantially different than what I do. Oh, whoa. That's crazy. Peanut butter, really? Yes, but I woke up at about 7 p.m. After my nap and hibernation, and I looked at my phone, and it was just, there were so many messages, and I'm not even kidding. Like, I think I looked at my phone, and when I realized what had happened, I literally just, like, heard boss music. Like, I just heard them. I just heard, like, Doom Eternal, like, it's just like, oh, fuck.
Siege rework for the Siege God.
Brandon, we need to talk, sir. When you got some free time, hit me up. We gotta talk business. But hope you're doing well, my dude. Thanks for the resub, appreciate it. Man, so CA, they done goofed, man. That was so annoying. We recorded that episode a little while ago. It was a few weeks back. And that releasing early just, like, screwed the schedule. Oh, that screwed the schedule so hard. Oh, that was so annoying. Like, I realize for the community leaks, they're all like, oh yeah, but, like, for us, it sucks. It sucks. Just throws off your whole day. Hades, yeah, I saw it. I'm really curious what it's gonna end up. It looks like a Nighthawk lantern, though, yeah. Oh no, Hammond.
As a necromancer, I've taken up bodybuilding as a hobby. It requires practice and dedication. Good thing I picked up a bodybuilding manual by a man called Helman Gorst.
I wouldn't follow that. It's probably... I'm pretty sure the only thing Helman Gorst has actually written is a really weird fanfic about resurrecting his brothers. It's kind of incesty, to be honest. I wouldn't recommend his work. If you're really looking for bodybuilding tips, I would probably say check out the articles written by Van Hal. Probably a good way to start. Thanks for the bits, dude. I actually heard a joke similar to that just the other day. I think it was like Frankenstein entered a bodybuilding competition and, like, grossly misunderstood the point of the contest or something like that.
Joins the Red Host.
Morgan, thanks so much for renewing your Prime sub.
Sotek spawn.
Think we will get any more news this week?
I don't know. Maybe.
But finding me
Maybe.
for having fallen afoul of Novigrad's underworld bosses, I'd disappeared. Yet Geralt soon discovered my whereabouts, a cell in the dungeon of the Temple Guard. With the help of our friends, Geralt managed to free me. Good thing.
Listen, I don't know anything.
I knew what had happened.
And if I did know anything, I would never tell you.
Pursued by bandits, then cornered by the temple guard, she had disappeared in a flash of light and a gust of heat.
Oh, rip, because of all that
This
deadlifting?
I did not know.
Ugh! It's got multiple layers. I don't like it. Okay, so real quick, if you have any questions about the interview we did with Andy Hall, I'm more than happy to talk about it. Thank God it's finally released. Man, we recorded that, well, I don't want to give an exact date, but it was a while ago. So I'm super happy that's finally out, because we can finally talk about it. So if you have any questions about Cathay lore, I would be super happy to do my best to answer them, because we learned a ton, and that was so much fun, man. That was a dream come true, learning about all that. Yeah, Dr. Bloody, I'm really glad they're keeping the Naga, because the Naga of Koresh were more of a Forge World invention, but I'm really pleased that they are doubling down on it. How hard was it to hold back the questions that you couldn't ask? Not that hard. We really got to ask pretty much everything we wanted. There were a number of things that, looking back, I wish I had added. Like there are questions that came to mind like in the hours following that I wish I had asked. But the good news is, I think Andy's doing like another little thing that will provide a couple bit more information that might answer some of those questions. But yeah. Skaven Cathay hybrid for the Monkey King? Well, so the thing with the Monkey King is not allies with the Skaven. They seem to have had a big hand in convincing him to invade Cathay, to like take it for himself. But it seems whatever happened during the closing tides of that incident has left the Monkey King with like a fairly sour opinion on the Skaven. And that was 200 years ago. It's been a long time since the Monkey King's invasion.
He's a war veteran.
So, you know, it's been more like 100 years. It's been a little over a century since the Monkey King was defeated and cast out of Cathay, or cast out of the capital. But from what Andy was telling us, he is not an ally of Clan Eshin. Like, I would say Clan Eshin and him maybe are not full-blown enemies, but they're not friends. Flamefang is definitely the son of the Emperor. That's what I'm saying. Am I saying that trusting the Skaven didn't work out? Yeah, wow, crazy, right? Sun Wukong learned... well, actually, I don't know what his name is. He told us that the Monkey King has a name, but we weren't allowed to know what it was. So, we don't know what his actual name is, but I imagine it's something similar to Sun Wukong. Though they'll probably alter a few letters to make it a little distinct. What was I forgot what I was saying. Oh, but yeah, he actually learned his lesson, it sounds like, and doesn't work with the Skaven anymore. Unlike Sultan Jafar, Sultan Jafar learned too late that he could not rely on the Skaven and Kairo's Fate Weaver, because they both betrayed him in the end. Elspeth is a Cathayan dragon? Get out. Get out. How dare you? Elspeth's not a dragon! What is wrong with you? Oh my god. Y'all are the worst. I hate it here. End or Koresh first? I don't know if we're gonna get into Koresh. I think that End and Koresh will be playable in Warhammer the Old World and will be explored. I don't know if we're gonna get them in Total War, though I'm very much hopeful. Personally, I would prefer Koresh first. Well, actually, no. I would want Chaos Dwarfs as the first race pack. So, Ogre Kingdom's pre-order. Chaos Dwarfs are the first race. Then I would do End, because they're, like, kind of more neutralish good guys. And then I would do Koresh as another bad guy. That's her name, Elspeth von Dragon. That is not correct. Are End and Koresh confirmed? They're confirmed to exist and to be vague enemies of Cathay. Though it sounds like the Naga of Koresh are a much bigger threat to Cathay due to their disposition. Though End definitely does try to mess with Cathay. Nippon win? Dude, we couldn't even get Andy to say the word Nippon. I got Andy Hall to talk about the fish people, the deep ones. I got an official Games Workshop author who wrote 8th edition army books and lore and writes all the Total War lore to talk about fish people, okay? But he would not say Nippon. He wouldn't say it. Give me the fish people. Give me the fish people. Koresh are very not nice. Koresh are a chaos-worshipping race of snake creatures that use ritualistic blood magic, dark sorcery, and they hunt humans like animals in their terrifying jungles. They are super evil. Are there any beastmen threats in Cathay? Yeah, Cathay has a beastman population that are not nice. So Warhammer, China, and India have beef. Why am I not surprised? Well, I mean, they're two large nations. What do you want? Question for Lorebeards, who would win? Can we submit AOS matchups? Sure, honestly. Yeah, that'd be fine.
Hey, handsome.
Whistling Windy? Okay. So, okay, for anyone that's, like, not, like, what the hell are we doing right now? So, we are working on a quest where one of my favorite characters...
How
hey.
am I to know? What?
The hell are you nerds? Oh, I can't use my sword, and I can't use magic. I have to beat them up. So these guys, so the quest we're doing is that we found out that our bard lad's favorite lady, whose name I am struggling to remember right now, because I'm an idiot, and it's been a few days since we played last. I love her character. She's an awesome character. And she sings beautiful. Oh, I robbed them? Oh. Well. They'll be okay. Priscilla! Yes, Priscilla. Priscilla was attacked. And not only was she attacked, but the attacker seems to have ripped out one of her eyeballs and may have permanently damaged her voice. Which she has a beautiful voice. We had a lovely singing scene with her earlier. So I am pretty pissed. And if I find this guy, I'm going to absolutely rip him a new ass and burn him to death. Blocking, you nerd.
Think you'll gut me too, huh? Up your ass, deviant! Hoes can fight back!
Calm down, I'm not gonna hurt you. What are you doing here?
Getting vengeance. Well, why are you staring?
No, they weren't attacking me
You
because
not
I
hear
stole
killers
stuff.
always return to the scene of their crime. Me and my brothers are waiting here to give him a warm welcome. For Priscilla. Almost did her in, the whole son.
I know. Here to look for clues and find anyone who might know something.
Fear I can't help you much. But I can tell you what I know.
Tell me everything.
You and Priscilla friends?
Friends? Nah. But she saw more than a stupid whore in me. Treated me with respect. It mattered. I was looking to give up whoring. Pick up a decent trade. But none would take me. Not as a washerwoman, nor a servant, nor a cook. Felt like a leper, I did.
Poor thing.
But Priscilla, she was different. Agreed to put me in her play, you see? Lots of the other actors, they were afraid on account of her jesting about the eternal fire. Whistling Wendy on stage, can you imagine it? Well, dream's gone now. I'm back to working street corners.
Sorry to hear that.
You could do worse as work goes. Or so I tell myself.
So a couple of questions in chat to answer. What are my thoughts on the anniversary vampire model? She looks great! And I'm really glad they're doing something that's not a Stormcast, and something they haven't done before, which is a vampire. They've done an anniversary Night Haunt. They've actually done 2 or 3? They've done 2 or 3 anniversary Night Haunts, which I own all of them. And then the rest have been Stormcast. So I'm really glad they're not doing Stormcast, and it's a gorgeous sculpt. It is a gorgeous sculpt. I cannot imagine many Vampire Count or Soulblight Gravelord players who would not want to have that model. Were the monkey people living in... no, so the monkey people are not beastmen. The monkey people are a distinct race that are native to the mountains of heaven, where the Monkey King rules from, and they are his people. But they are the second most populous species in Cathay, only behind humans. And they kind of hang around and do stuff. So kind of like how lizardmen are not beastmen, Skaven are not beastmen, the monkey men, or the monkey people, are also not beastmen. They're a distinct race. But they actually help defend Cathay. Do you think there'll be lore on Aberash at Cathay? No. Probably no, I don't think so. I do not recall there being any records of Aberash visiting Cathay. He might have gone there, but it's not a major part of his saga. Aberash is fairly well contained to the old world. Like, he did wander a bit, but if we're gonna go to Cathay, the guy there is Herakte. Herakte is the vampire that moved to Cathay, and he's like, he's Big Dad. And he founded the Jade Bloodline. He's the founder, so he's like on that tier with Aberash, Vlad, Neferata, Wazoran, and Ushoran. Lokir raiding Cathay lore? Yep, that's absolute canon. Lokir Fellheart has raided Cathay a few times, though Lokir has pissed off End more than he's pissed off Cathay, but he definitely has participated in raids on Cathay. What would happen if Grimgor was part of the Uberstrike 5? They might actually stand a chance at stopping the end times, to be honest.
Priscilla wasn't the sole victim. You aware of that?
Oh, dearie. Course I was. This didn't start yesterday. Others have died like this before. Beggars, street girls, orphans. But who'd have a drama concern about them? Human rubbish. It's what the guards call us.
Recall any names?
They didn't have proper ones. Baldy, curly, buns. That's what folk called them. No friends, no families. Their bodies were burned long ago.
So, chat, what's your favorite piece of lore that you've learned?
Take care now.
Like, are you excited
I gotta look
about...
around some more. Appreciate it if you didn't disturb me.
Naturally, we'll stand aside, behave. But do tell us if you find anything else here.
Are you more... what was the thing you enjoyed the most to hear about? No, Bronyu, no, I honestly think that if they had Grimgor on their team, they would probably stand a chance at winning.
Human. Priscilla's.
Stories of the Other Dragons? Cool, cool. The Soul-Sucking River? Yeah.
This time of year?
Brazier.
Awful
A
pale.
brazier. This time of year? A brazier. This time of year?
Concerned Citizen Sermon. Remember, good people, the light cast by the fire dispels every darkness, reveals every lie, exposes every worthy and debauched soul. Not even the shape-shifting Dopplers can hide from its light. Not even witches and sorceresses so adept at fooling the common folk. Not the loose women who walk the streets and fog men's minds with their charms. Abandon then the treacherous and immoral magic arcane. Cover your bodies in modesty and provoke no unclean thoughts. And the eternal fire will expose you for all monsters and sinners. Or else burn you too in its flame. This stinks of church stuff.
Man's footprint. The murderer's maybe. Weight on his heel. Took a step back.
Okay. I just love the Cathay Dragons hating the old ones. So, something fun I actually did speak with Andy about. It's not in the podcast because we talked about it afterwards. But one of the things that I really enjoyed that we spoke about was that the old ones actually did talk to the Celestial Dragon Emperor and the Moon Empress. Like, they were actually able to have conversations with the old ones. They weren't very in-depth conversations, and there's not a lot of written lore about it.
Murderer fled before the guards arrived. Ran this way.
So we don't know exactly what went down between them, but they weren't enemies. I think the Celestial Dragon Emperor and the Moon Empress knew better than to pick a fight with them. But it is interesting stuff.
Trail ends here. Strange. Even I couldn't jump this wall.
How the hell? Okay, so we're dealing with a person that's got ups, to say the least.
Got a problem.
I know that smell. Formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde.
So, what is it?
Think I know what happened here. Priscilla fought back, her assailant retreated, and knocked over the brazier. Someone must have heard it. Maybe saw something, started hollering. Guards showed up. Murderer didn't finish the job, didn't cover his tracks. Just collected himself and leapt over the wall. Trail ends there.
How did he jump over
You
that,
divined
though?
all this from a pile of rubbish and a few prints in the mud.
Do that practically every day in my profession. And practice makes perfect.
True enough. Just like I can tell right off if a punt will pay or try to wriggle out of it.
That particular skill I could use myself. Take care now. And I got a murderer to catch.
Alright. So, real quick, just to answer some stuff in chat. When did Grimgor throw down with Archaon? What happened afterwards? From Papa Chaos. Okay, so real quick to answer that. So, Papa Chaos, there are two different alternate timelines, right? One of the timelines is the Storm of Chaos, which the Storm of Chaos was like the original attempt by Games Workshop at the end times. And in that battle, the way Archaon and Grimgor met was literally at the very, very end of like the big climactic final battle. And what happened was that Archaon was having this super big duel against Vultan, and Vultan essentially, you could think of him as the mortal reincarnation of Sigmar. So Vultan was wielding Galmaraz and being a big badass, and Archaon was fighting him, and Archaon actually beats him. Archaon defeats Vultan and casts him down, though Archaon is super beat up by this point. His shield is like pretty much wrecked. He got hit hard by Galmaraz, and he is winded. And at this point, while he's just taken out Vultan, he stabbed Vultan through the stomach and knocked him down. At this last second, when Archaon's trying to catch his breath for a hot second, because he's just been getting attacked constantly by Vultan and people close to Vultan, Grimgor shows up. So Grimgor comes hurtling out from behind Archaon, and Archaon does not realize Grimgor's behind him until the last second because of the Eye of Shirian. So Archaon turns around to fight Grimgor, and Grimgor just bowls into him. And the two of them start fighting, and Archaon tries to use... he unleashes the Slayer of Kings full might. So he lashes out at Grimgor, but Grimgor, being a very, very fast combatant himself, actually manages to catch the Slayer of Kings on the haft of his axe, Gitsnik, and as he catches that, he goes in for a headbutt, and it just obliterates Archaon. So he headbutts him, and he just starts beating the crap out of him. So Archaon gets pummeled, and Grimgor basically, like one of the horns on his helmet snaps off, and his armor gets torn open. Grimgor just beats the crap out of him and throws him down on the ground. And and he basically yells "Wah!" and that he's the greatest because Archaon doesn't get back up, and he just runs off. So that was the first time. That was the original way it happened. So in the end times of Warhammer Fantasy, which is the apocalypse event that leads to Age of Sigmar, and is also the end of Warhammer Fantasy, Grimgor fights Archaon in this timeline as well. But what happens this time is that all of the incarnates, the elemental incarnates, who are individuals that have one of the 8 winds of magic inside of them and powering them up and then kind of boosting them, they all go down and they fight their way to the center of Archaon's big world-destroying plan, where he's basically trying to rip open another gateway to the realm of chaos that will end up devouring the entire world. So they all go down there, and the first, like, all the incarnates are fighting different people. So some of the incarnates are fighting greater demons, some of them are fighting, like, hordes of enemies, whatever. And during this fight, Grimgor beelines for Archaon. So him and Archaon, like, practically point at each other, and they're like, "You!" and they just run at each other. And we get Grimgor's Immortals versus Archaon Swords of Chaos. And while they're fighting, Archaon and Grimgor slam into each other and start fighting. And the thing that's really fun about the fight between Grimgor and Archaon is that Archaon in the end times was boosted up to really be the Lord of the end times. Like, he was insanely strong. And Grimgor, as the incarnate of Beast, because he has the lore of Beast inside of him, is actually able to match him blow for blow. So the two of them are fighting, and they're fighting, and Archaon's trying to use the Eye of Shirian to predict what Grimgor is going to do in order to kind of keep up with him and not get overwhelmed by his raw strength. And Grimgor headbutts him, because both of their weapons meet, and Grimgor just slams his head into Archaon's, and Grimgor hits Archaon so hard. Keep in mind, Archaon is wearing the armor of Morkar, which is the most mighty suit of armor ever created by the Dark Gods. The armor of the first ever chosen. And the Eye of Shirian is slotted in his head, and the Eye of Shirian is the most potent artifact ever created for Chaos. And Grimgor, without any magical equipment or a helmet, headbutts Archaon so hard that he crushes the Eye of Shirian. So not only does it like put a huge dent in Archaon's helmet and stun him, but it also shatters, like it turns the Eye of Shirian to dust. And Archaon realizes that he's boned if he doesn't end this fight, like really fast. So Archaon unleashes Uzul just like he did in the Storm of Chaos, and he slashes out his sword in like a flurry of attacks, but this time with the speed and strength of a greater demon behind it. A really powerful greater demon. And in the end times, they call back to that exact same moment. So Archaon lashes out with the Slayer of Kings, and Grimgor tries to block it with the haft of Gitsnik. But in the end times, it doesn't work. So Gitsnik actually gets sheared in half. So the haft gets ripped through by the Slayer of Kings, and Grimgor at this point is basically just fighting with his bare fists. So, and like a broken weapon. So he uses what he has of Gitsnik and his bare fist to actually deal a significant amount of damage to Archaon. But since he doesn't actually have a weapon to defend himself with, and he can't really get through Archaon's armor, he puts a few more dents in him, but he gets killed. Because without anything to really defend himself from, the Slayer of Kings is able to just tear into him, and Grimgor gets cut down and dies. So that's what happens in the end times showdown. The infamous kick in the balls incident never happened. That was never something that occurred. Can lizardmen converse with humans from Dread Manny? Yes, they absolutely can. Hades, if you got a Who Would Win submission, go toss it in the Who Would Win arena on the Discord. I'm not gonna remember if you write it here. And then last thing, just real quick, do I think the Jade Bloodline will be added to the vampire counts or get their own faction like the vampires? No. Dr. Bloody, if we get Jade vampires, they are 100% going to be part of the... they either will be an addition to the vampire counts or the vampire coast. They will not be a standalone faction. There's no. That would be making a mountain out of a molehill. That's not going to happen. Yeah, a lot of people excited about a lot of things. All right. Sorry for the time-consuming chat there.
Anyone home?
Begun, or I'll sick me hounds on you. Molly, Striga, come!
Relax. I'm here about Fabian Meyer, looking for his killer.
That's altogether different. Sit your stupid mutts, lie down. Come on then. Slowly now, lest they bite you.
I love the evasion around the Nagas, as well as not even naming Nippon. It gets my hopes up for their inclusion in the next game. Yeah, it was really difficult and tempting to try and figure out what we may see in the future based on Andy's answers.
Charming as beasts go.
You daft. Even I'm scared of them. A better barking dog than an evil man at your door.
Got someone particular in mind?
Sure as shite. Bugger who did Fabian in. As soon as they'd hauled his corpse off, I ran to a mate who raised his fighting dogs. Bought these 2 mutts. Cost me a chunk of change. But I sleep sound at least.
I highly doubt they would change the name of Nippon. If they're gonna keep Cathay named as Cathay, which is just a really old history version of referring to China, I don't see them changing Nippon's name. Like, Nippon is an appropriate name for it in